talking about the financial struggles of MSNBC and CNBC. They are dying. I have followed this for over a decade. They were giants at CNBC, at least, was a giant ratings wise, and then Fox FBN came around. Then they just started dying, and MSNBC has cratered. Comcast wants to spin off those networks along with Sci-Fi, Universal, and maybe a couple others, because they're destroying the reputation of Comcast, specifically MSNBC. It's bringing down NBC's news division in respectability. And he had a whole take on it. My thought, first of all, is since 2000, for the audience, in 2000, I watched MSNBC, I watched CNN. However, MSNBC within 18 months moved full-blown left. CNN took a few more years, and they retained some of their credibility, because I don't know, you guys may be too young, but Big John and I remember the first Persian Gulf War. That's where Wolf Blitzer became a household name. That's where you saw frontline coverage that you had never seen before since Vietnam, but even more in depth, more detailed. So they lived off that reputation for a few years until we saw their utter collapse. Fox News entered the market, I want to say 6 months after MSNBC, and they just began dominating both MSNBC and CNN. Now, O'Reilly had an interesting take. He says, first of all, the uncoupling is going to lead to their potential death, because they don't have the resources to pay Rachel Maddow, who took a $5 million pay cut. Now she's only earning $25 million a year. You know, they don't have the resources to pay her that. That NBC News is distancing itself because they're dying by association. The NBC Nightly News is down 20% over the last 5 years. The Today Show, which used to annually destroy the competition, is down 30%. MSNBC's market value is literally negligible. First of all, we'll start with you, Annette. Your thoughts on my belief that this change of leftism began at the turn of the century when they tried to take the election. Al Gore did, and the media was 100% behind him, and that started down in Florida. Well, your thoughts on that?
You mean for I actually think you got that absolutely right. And I think CNN then was to follow. And I remember, I'm sorry, I am your age, actually. I must look really young, but of Wolf Blitzer and that coverage. And but over time, those shows, they had that left-leaning, but I used to watch them, William, though. I could still watch those shows. And over time, I could watch Chris Matthews, right? And over time, it got worse and worse and worse and worse. So it wasn't really it was like a descent. You know what I mean? It really, to me, it wasn't overnight. It got to the point.
No, I agree. It wasn't overnight.
Right? It was just nauseating. And then it felt like it was just a mouthpiece for the DNC. And then it became, they weren't trustworthy at all. They lost all credibility. And I haven't watched it now. In the last few years. I can't even watch it.
I agree. Actually, Chris Harbaugh was my favorite show on MSNBC. I look forward to that, and Britt Hume was anchoring it on Fox News. But I forget.
He's great. Britt Hume is great. I like him.
Yeah. He was on Fox. I mean, those were my two favorite shows. But Chris Matthews, Harbaugh was my favorite show at the time, at the turn of the century. So what are your thoughts? When did you see the leftward shift? Did you see it before or after 2000 in relation to what I'm saying?
Yeah, I think it was probably after 2004, because I believe MSNBC started as a collaboration between NBC and Microsoft.
Correct.
And that was the same year that Fox News started. And I think they actually started before Fox News. But Fox News obviously catered to the right? So they knew that was their audience, because the right really had no other place to go. And MSNBC within 8 years realized, well, we should cater to the left. And then CNN's caught in the middle, like the redheaded stepchild, going, and their logo is red. Who do we cater to? The middle? Because there's not enough people in the middle. They either want to hear this or that. And so I think they started the leftward drag towards the left. But I will say, in this last election cycle, CNN did some pretty scathing pieces on Kamala, which was refreshing to see. Aaron Burnett specifically, and then the guy that black-haired guy who did all the polling analysis.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he was pretty good too, and
The guy,
he still does
the
it. Like
board, the guy at the board that was moving the board,
the board.
yeah.
And he's saying like X. Everyone's saying X has turned into this right-wing thing, and just last week or this week, he said no. 48% of people on X are liberal, and 47% are conservative. So I think CNN's trying to get that credibility back.
Well, the axe is coming. Gee, the axe is coming down. Maybe they got wind, but I remember watching that election night. They were they ABC and MSNBC. It's 3 a.m. They're still not calling it, but they're talking about it as if Trump's going to be the president, but they won't call it. So O'Reilly also talked about MSNBC losing access to resource, aka money, the paying staff, the production staff. You heard me talk about the nightly news is down 20%. Today's show down 30%. And MSNBC's market is negligible. Now, CNN is a more highly valued entity, and they tried to spin that off. Warner Brothers, 8 months ago, and they could not get one person to even consider buying it. So I believe O'Reilly when he talks about their value being considered negligible. What are your overall thoughts, G? We'll start with you on his belief that MSNBC really has nothing without being attached to NBC, financially being able to pay its people or to survive, is what he's saying.
I don't know what value it has at all. I mean, they're saying Elon Musk might buy, but what is he buying? Like, can't he create a studio of his own? So he would just be buying the personalities, and who cares about those personalities?
No, I hate to interrupt you, but what he's buying on see, it's hard. I know this because of the NFL Network. I was the NFL Network's first fantasy football analyst, so I got a little inside juju. It was a battle to what channel they got. It was a battle to what cable carriers carried them. Everything was a battle because they weren't welcome. So what happens, whoever buys MSNBC has the slots open, meaning they're already on Comcast, they're already on Roadrunner, on Time Warner. They're already, it's already a product that's already has a built-in foundation. And I actually think the personalities are what you want to get rid of. And I think so if Elon buys it, what he's done is he's taken X over, the mentality that he's built around X over to cable. The question is, how much value is there in that? So what are your thoughts there on that in terms of MSNBC losing access to resources, but yet having access to the cable structure? Listen to that.
Do you think that they want our show to be put in there?
I don't think they can afford us.
Are they ready for us is what I want to know. Is Elon want to slot us in?
Our producer salary alone could bring with them.
Yeah, wait. Sorry. I was just too excited at the thought that maybe they're just gonna, get rid of all those people and bring in Grumblings Media. Wait, so what was your question?
So my question is, do you think MSNBC is toast without NBC? And do you think there's any potential value? I kind of corrected myself because I think there is value in them for an outsider to buy them because they already have a structure built in. They're on cable already.
No, that made sense to me. And then I understand what you're saying. So somebody could essentially buy it and start fresh.
Correct. No, I agree. Yeah.
There's no value in being a left-leaning news network anymore. If they want to have any hope, they do what Elon did to X and make it fair. If you have a right-wing show, then the next hour put a left-wing show. Or do like a Hannity and Combs, where you have a left-winger and a right-winger, and they're sitting there battling it out.
Hey everybody, this is Big John from Grumblings Media, and I just want to say thank you for watching our content. If you want to support our efforts here at Grumblings Media, just smash the subscribe button right here, totally free, or just go ahead and consume more of our great content. Click either one of these two boxes.